you should be able to hear me alongside the computer audio. Can you hear that, Holloway? Sweet. Sounds good. Now it's using a noise suppressor for the mic. I wonder if that helps prevent feedback from my speakers, since I also have the computer audio coming out of my monitor here. Oh yeah, I can see that now. With the noise suppressor turned on, if I'm not talking, the noise for the mic goes all the way down to 0 over here. Nifty. And then if I turn off the noise suppression, then now it never goes back to 0. I'm going to turn the noise suppression back on. And do I still sound okay when I'm speaking, Holloway? Do I still sound okay, I wonder? So we've still got 45 minutes till we get going. Okay, cool. Sounds good. And then check this out. I got some fun little tools here. So you got Presentify. That's going to put a nice. All right, we'll see you soon. So Presentify lightens up or indicates my mouse nicely. Also lets me annotate my screen, so I can do this kind of stuff, which is fun. So Presentify is cool for that. And then I've also got this guy here, Hazeover. And this one's really fun. So now whatever window I do gets this nice focus, so that you don't have to look at other stuff as much. I think this will be a nice touch for making sure that what's on the screen matches the conversation. So that's pretty cool. Oh, why did this stop highlighting my cursor? Yeah, highlight my cursor. So I can highlight my cursor and have windows shown. Very cool. Equal here. Don't want to be beaten by the music. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah. Takes too long to load. Let's switch to simple view. we go. Okay, cool. Hey, here we are.
Yeah, here we go.
Hi, everyone.
How's it going?
Very good. Get this thing set up here.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of last minute change up and trying to figure this out. So I don't need to be in the YouTube side of it, right? Like just here, and then it'll should all broadcast over.
I don't think so, but you're managing the YouTube. Wait, who was talking just now? Not Holloway.
Josh.
Yeah, no, you don't need to do anything via YouTube.
Okay.
We're just here in Discord, and this lets me do stuff with the Discord chat, but then there's also going to be a live chat for the YouTube, and I wanted to have that up so that we could interact with that. But I think I need a new YouTube streaming link from Holloway.
Yeah, I guess I can have it up as well too, just so I can see those comments. Either way. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm streaming right now, but I don't know if this is the event. Maybe I can open that in a separate window.
Yeah, so I see it on YouTube. It's just there's a slight delay, but I do see you in there. So and
Oh, cool. So we're live, and this is the correct
voice
event.
is coming through as well.
Excellent.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Just a quick second,
So
then.
is there double voices happening with a delay?
Yeah, you're gonna want to have and I guess I should share my screen via Discord too. Hopefully it doesn't nuke my computer. Yeah, there's gonna be a delay because of the processing time on the live stream compared to the Discord screen share. And
Yeah,
you're gonna want to
there'll be
have
a delay
audio
for
for
the
the
YouTube, but
YouTube
it's fine.
muted, I guess. And I don't think there's any real reason for you to be there except that we want to be able to monitor the chat for the stream.
Yeah, I guess as long as one of us is doing it, that's good.
We're also organized over here at RoutineHub.
We're getting better. We're getting
better every day. So the YouTube looks like it's good to go. I can see it. I hear everyone. So
awesome. And then I see an anonymous raccoon in the Google Docs page I just whipped up. So hopefully that's one of you guys.
Cool, here we go. All right. So we got YouTube chat, we got Discord chat up and ready to go. I've got shortcuts here ready to go. Oh yeah, so YouTube can see my screen, but Discord can't. How about this? How about can't we do like a group streaming in Discord? So if I do this, then now everyone can see YouTube.
That's just the YouTube, okay.
And then if I stick the URL in here.
Oh wow, I see.
There we go. quick note before you watch. Okay, got it. I'm not gonna read it.
Cool. And am I still?
I hear music.
Yeah, I don't think I'm playing anything else at this point.
It's like some super ominous, like video game music.
Is it still going?
Yeah.
What the heck? I'm not playing it anymore.
I don't hear any music, not on the YouTube at least.
Okay, good. All right. I think we're good then. That was just for a second. I'm not quite sure
I
what
still
caused
hear
that
it.
either. But yeah, so now everyone who's in the voice channel can be watching the YouTube stream, right?
Yeah, so I still hear the music. Oh, is it sort of going away now?
I mean, the only issue with this is
Okay.
that I see the stream as of like many minutes ago.
So I
That,
still hear the music.
yeah, that's where the music's coming from. Like you can see, this is a huge lag. It's lagging by like, 20 minutes or so. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of this. Take this off of the shared playlist. Or not, whatever. Oh wait, here? There we go. Close. Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen and we'll do that here too. Okay. So now I'm doubly shared. We'll see if it doesn't nuke my computer. Shouldn't be a big deal. Apologies on the late start, everyone. Welcome to the RoutineHub shortcut review session number 3, I'm gonna say.
5?
5, I think. So yeah, welcome everyone. Official start to our RoutineHub live review session 5. This is called Focused on Simplicity. We kind of want to scale things back a little bit and look at shortcuts that are more lightweight, compact, and easy to use, easy to set up. And we have a few show notes that we'll be going through, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Oops.
I just quickly threw together the show notes. Yeah. So the ones that that we had picked from the submissions were people. They were not really at all simple. I mean, they weren't crazy advanced like Blue Byte stuff or whatever, but so anyway, yeah, so I guess I'll just start it out with so my idea for the simple ones was just like, so when you're explaining shortcuts to somebody that's just uses an iPhone and they don't care about anything like this, they're like, well, why do you do that? And so I have several that I use all the time for that kind of stuff is either like a prank or something that again can potentially be useful for somebody that like doesn't really care about automation or blah blah blah. They just use their phone to browse TikTok, right? So the first one here, it's one of my favorites actually because it's a good little prank. So it's just called Speak Text, and let's see here. All it does, it's got realistically it only needs 2 actions, but I have 3. So the first one is it sets the media volume to 100% because if for some reason your volume's lower, it'll fix that. And then it asks for text, and so you just type in text, and then it just has Siri speak it. And so I use it a lot to mess with people, when I'm hanging out or whatever at the bar, and someone's like says something stupid, and then I just like whip out my phone and have Siri like retort back with something smart ass, and it'll say anything. Like you can put curse words in there, and it's really great.
I could see kids having a fun time with this one.
Right. And people, but it's one of those ones that it always gets people like, how the hell did you do that? Like, and then they always, I try to share it with people, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So, But yeah, super simple. I think the only caveat is you have to have the actual Siri voice downloaded, and you have to go select it. So, of course, Siri just activated when I said that. So for me, it's called Siri Voice 4. And so all of the other ones sound like a robot.
Oh, it has to match whatever you have downloaded.
Yeah.
And you can get it to download all of them by selecting one after the other in settings and then Siri and then voice. But
Right.
but if you don't have one constantly selected, then it'll just get purged. And
Yeah.
so you can only ever use the same one that your system Siri settings is set to.
Right. Which is just kind of annoying. I wish it would at least cache 3 or 4 or something, but
Yeah,
so.
it should just
But
let you
anyway,
pick all 5
right. Just keep them there. I mean,
for
great.
for American English anyhow.
Right. So yeah, that was kind of the first one that I picked because it's just so simple, but yet it has that novelty effect where you can do things with your phone that a lot of people, normal people that don't care about this stuff, they're like it actually kind of gets them intrigued a little bit, and then maybe it could potentially get somebody to be like, you know what, I'm gonna go and check out that shortcuts app, and then obviously you can just share it with them, and then maybe that piques their interest, and they start playing with other stuff. So,
Yeah, for sure.
um, so then, um, yeah. So I haven't actually tried it on the Mac too. It'd be interesting if it works, but um, I still need to get more into shortcuts for Mac specifically.
I am a butt.
There you go. It's decided.
Yeah, so I do it to mess with my friends, and I'll get Siri to like talk crap and like use their voice, and like how they know it was me. It's pretty funny.
And on a similar note, I have one that I made for my kids that's called "What Kind of Things Do I Like?" And it's a list of normal things and absurd and disgusting things. And it's just a bunch of stuff in a text action, and it selects 3 of them randomly and says, I like this, that, and the other. But it'll be like, I like farts and boogers and poo-poo pants or something.
That's great.
And like when I first wrote it, and this was before like large language models had become popular and stuff. This was a pretty fun way for the kids to laugh hard for 30 minutes at a time.
No, that's awesome, and that's even a add to the point that I was saying is like you get kids like if they're using that maybe on their own phone or on your phone or something, and then you can kind of show them how it works, and from a young age they start understanding this kind of stuff, and so
Yeah,
that's really cool.
it helps them abstract out what computers are doing and realize that whatever it's doing, it's just running through a sequence of commands.
Right.
Yeah, visual programming is really powerful for that. So you want to talk about this next
Yeah.
one?
What's that?
You want to talk about the next one was Sad Greg.
Yeah. So similar, very similar. 3 actions. So it's Sad Greg because I actually only use this sound for my buddy Greg. Actually, sorry, 4 actions. But so long story short, I started playing disc golf a long time ago. Frisbee golf for anybody that doesn't know. And it's just a lot of fun, and it's something we do anytime the weather's nice for the most part. And so my buddy Greg, he's is like 60s. I think he just turned 62 a couple weeks ago. And he's pretty good at disc golf, but he's like super competitive with me, but he's just like never gonna be as good. And it's funny, and so we have this little rivalry, and so every once in a while, like at least once per round, I'll wait till after he throws, and then I'll play this sound, and it's the sad trombone sound. So
Let's try it out. That works well, you know, and you could camouflage it by giving it a different name
Right.
so that way you could be like, oh, almost, and your phone automatically goes wah 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 wah.
Oh, that'd be good. But it
Of
would
course,
probably trigger at the wrong times and would have trouble triggering when I wanted to or something. I don't know.
yeah, it would come up and create the most awkward social situations.
Yeah, which okay, so on that note, so I have it set to my this is a twofold story. I have it set to my action button on my watch, my Ultra 2, so I can also just trigger it from there. And so there's definitely been times where I've accidentally triggered that. And then one I might add to this after the fifth one we have here that we can go over is I have one that it's a little more complex, but at the base it's pretty simple. God, where is it? So it's called we'll go over it later, I guess, but it's called Siri Insults, and so it does connect to an API, but it just takes like an evil insult and then has Siri read it out loud,
Mm-hmm.
and that was assigned to my action button, and oh, about 4 or 5 months ago, my girlfriend and I, had only been together for a couple months at that point, and I was down at her house, and it was on my action button. I had just got my watch like a week before, so I was testing different things out, and she was just talking and whatever, and I was kind of listening, and I was doing something else or whatever, and I think I was moving something, and somehow I triggered the action button, and she's just like blah 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 blah, and then all of a sudden Siri goes, "Everything you said was just irrelevant." Like something, 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 and it was like so on point, and she was all, "What the hell?" And I had to like explain to her. I was like, "No, that was an accident. Like, I'll show you. It's not." I just kept ran it a couple more times, and it's.
You're like, no, seriously, I'm just a hopeless nerd. That's all this is. Don't worry. No red flags here.
Anyway, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
So,
you want to talk briefly about how this shortcut works?
yeah, so back to Sad Greg. So similarly, it sets the volume to 100% just to make sure, and then I have the base 64 encoded sound in a text action, and then it decodes it, and then just plays it. And so that way it's all encompassed in the shortcut. It doesn't have to grab a sound file from anywhere.
Right.
And it works every single time.
And how can someone make one of these base 64 strings?
So yeah, great question. So I downloaded the file years ago from somewhere, and then used a different shortcut to then just take that file and then encode it into base 64, and then just paste it in there.
So you could do something like select a.
So I have
Ugh, stop moving right before I click.
I hate that.
You could do something like select a file,
Yeah.
encode it, and copy it to your clipboard.
Yep.
And so if you have a sound file, you could do it that way. If you wanted to record your own thing, then you could just replace the select file with record audio.
Oh, that's I see. I never thought of that. That's really neat.
And so now instead of selecting a file, we just record some audio, encode that as base 64, which turns it into, like here, it turns it into a text string, a very long text string, enormous. And then you get a text string that corresponds to a sound file. And the way base 64 works, at the very beginning of it, the initial part of the base 64 tells you what kind of file it is.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was looking for ways to check input on a shortcut that could take base 64 as input, and I wanted to make sure that it could only possibly be like a PNG image file, and you can just check for the right beginning, because this corresponds to the header of the actual file,
So
and the header of every file tells you what kind of a file it is.
So at that last slash before the P5M.
Oh, I don't actually know how much of it is the header.
Okay.
I just know that you can use the very beginning of it to determine roughly what the file type is.
To me, that makes sense though. That last slash, because there's no more slashes for the most part. Well, I guess there is. Like,
Yeah, it picks the slashes as good places to stick line breaks.
yeah.
But yes, so this is a trick you see people doing a lot because it's essentially how to stick a file, whether it's an image or a piece of audio or a video or whatever. It lets you take any file or any type of media that you want and turn it into a text string. And now you can just stick it inside of a shortcut like what's being done here. And you decode it instead of encode it.
Yep.
And because this contains everything you need to know about the file, including the file type, we don't have to tell it that it's a sound. It'll just figure out that it's a sound. If I were to stick in a base64 string that corresponded to an image, it would still decode it, but then an image object would pop out of this action. And then that would crash the shortcut once we tried to play the image as a sound. And so it's, and one trick, you know, like, because you can see this thing's huge. One nice touch that you can have on a shortcut is you can stick your base64 strings inside of a nested dictionary.
Yeah.
So that way it hardly takes up any vertical space at all in your shortcut. Because when you have like 50 different files in your shortcut, and then you have 50 of these huge text action blocks, it starts to become a real pain in the butt to try and drag blocks around, or just to scroll your shortcut and see what's going on. So you can stick everything in a dictionary, or you can nest it inside of like an if statement if you felt like it.
Right. Yeah.
I've also seen people do this.
Just a repeat block, yeah.
Repeat one time.
And then just collapse it.
Yeah, and now you can stick whatever you want to do in here, and it all just disappears.
Huh. So that interesting.
But that's more of just like aesthetics, and who really cares, because you don't anticipate that the person's going to have to look at your shortcut.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they do, but yeah.
That's true. That's kind of the point of this session, isn't it?
Don't most people look at the shortcut when they first open it up?
I do.
I do too.
Yeah, I imagine most of the people watching this broadcast are probably the types that would look at the shortcut. But like thinking of my family members and stuff, like they just want a photo collage. They don't really care how it's made.
Yeah, they trust you.
Yeah, and so you just send it to them. And like the way that, of course, in classic Apple fashion, the way that they allow you to see what's in the shortcut before you add it is sort of overwhelming or sneaky, one or the other. Because if it's a big shortcut, then you show it to someone, and it's not really honest to expect them to go through the whole thing and understand how it's going to work. And then you also have to click the little 3 dots when you add the shortcut, otherwise you can't see what's inside of it. And like most buttons in Apple's software, you can't really tell that it's a button until you start tapping things. But anyhow, yeah, so this is really cool because it shows us the basically the de facto way to get a file inside of a shortcut, so that you don't have to resort to storing things in contacts or as calendar events or somewhere in iCloud Drive or something like that.
Right.
So that's sad,
Yeah.
Greg. Here, we'll hit it once on the... Very
Poor
nice.
Greg.
Oh my.
I love it so much.
And then, of course, you can get the volume before you start the shortcut, set it to 100, and then set it back to the original value once the shortcut's done. That might be some icing on the cake.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Especially these newer phones, they've got big speakers on them. Like 100% volume is blasting.
Right. Yeah, I think I actually will have to add it in, actually. So In that case, I'll probably end up throwing the base 64 in a dictionary as well. That's kind of my practice anymore anyway, just because like once I got into making the V-card menu stuff, I had to, just for my own sanity. So,
It looks so much better.
yeah.
So moving
Yeah,
on.
On that note too,
Mhm.
I do plan on redoing my where these sounds came from was I have a soundboard shortcut that kind of the way I did it was I had the one shortcut call a bunch of other shortcuts that had all those sounds stored in them. So now I just want to make one that just works, out of the box. So
Oh, cool. That'd be fun. You could make like a little sampler shortcut where it lets you add new sounds,
yeah,
and you can like
yeah,
record it or
yeah.
point it to like a YouTube video or something, and it can grab the audio. You could really run away with that one.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
That way, people could make fart sounds at will,
Exactly.
and we will have succeeded in making the world truly a better place.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So next on the list that I can see but you guys can't is this QR Wi-Fi shortcut.
Yeah, this one is actually from the gallery. If I recall correctly, so it's just right there in the ones that Apple recommends, and I think Matt Passanelli or whatever his name is, I think he made most of these.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he worked for Workflow before Apple bought it, and then he was part of the acquisition for a number of months, 6 months, a year, or something. I actually just listened to the last Automators podcast the other day or this morning,
Mm-hmm.
and he mentioned something about that, and so.
It'd be cool if you could get the password of the Wi-Fi you're currently connected to, and have this thing automatically create a scannable code for the Wi-Fi that you're on.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can get the password, can it?
Yeah, no, it looks like, you can get all sorts of stuff that absolutely nobody cares about.
Right.
But the one thing you need in order to actually connect to it, no, they don't let you get that.
Yeah, and that's just Apple being Apple.
That'll be an iOS 28 feature.
So, but at the same time, so on that note though too, so you can get the currently connected Wi-Fi name.
Yeah, you can get the name.
So then I could see getting the name and then maybe taking a photo of the back of the router and then using some OCR to extract the password. It gets messier though, or just asking for the input for it.
I mean, I think
actually,
what I might do, as long as you're not too concerned with security, is I would stick a dictionary in here
yeah,
with all the passwords for your typical Wi-Fi, all the passwords that you know, and then it can look up the name, use that to look up the password, and build a QR code that way.
that's really smart. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
But of course, that's very insecure because these shortcuts, they're stored as essentially plain text files. So someone could possibly just scrape that from your hard drive if they were scanning through your files. If somebody opened the shortcut, they would have access to the Wi-Fi passwords. And so, this is, government employees working at national laboratories probably shouldn't do this.
Yeah. I always, in situations like that though, or for points like that, I always say, there's no such thing as true security. Like if somebody really wants to get into your stuff bad enough, they will. Like, do you have windows on your house? Yeah, they'll just break the window.
Yeah.
You can't really like.
And any shortcuts, or sorry, any security inside of shortcuts is going to amount to like having a screen door on your house.
Exactly, or no door at all.
Yeah, you can just like see everything. And then the one thing I wanted to point out real quick about this shortcut is that the real magic of the shortcut is how they're building this string. So this is following a very specific syntax. And I'm not actually familiar with that syntax, but if you come in here and do like QR code syntax,
Yeah, so it's something
Then-
that I guess it needs that to then encode it into itself or something, right?
So you can just like Google QR code syntax followed by the thing that you want to send to somebody, and you'd be able to find this information that way.
Yeah.
Maybe like valid QR code strings. Maybe Wikipedia is our friend here. Yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. So like for joining a Wi-Fi network, you know, there's this industry standard that they're going to follow this type of format. And so this is the format that's being used down here.
Right.
And if you want it to be a phone number, then there's going to be a different format.
Yeah.
Be nice if they had them all listed out, but you know, there's like a specific, you know, there's a set instead of Wi-Fi : S : it's going to be, you know, PH or something like phone number. There's things that open as a URL. There you can put basically anything into a QR code.
Yeah.
You could make an image into a QR code that would have many more pixels than the image that you were trying to send. It would be silly.
Hmm.
And then next,
That's interesting.
so yeah, like the real magic here is knowing how to build the string. After that, you can see it's just make QR code, and this is one of the built-in shortcuts actions.
Right, yeah. And like I said, so you can get that from the gallery, and I forget exactly how it comes out of the box, but it has most of that that string there. And so I just edited it to say Wi-Fi name and Wi-Fi password with those brackets. Obviously, the brackets don't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very similar though when you download it from the gallery.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the gallery's got some good ones. Like as far as a starting place for developing your own shortcuts, the gallery's perfectly sufficient.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll just poke around there and then just look at stuff.
So here's our next one, calculate tip.
Again, I think this one might be from the gallery. If I don't know, I've had it for so long that I don't remember. I might have rebuilt it or something. I don't know. So, but I'm notoriously bad for. I hate math. I'm just not good at it, and I don't like wasting my time or energy doing math in my head. Even tip math.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, every once in a while I'll just use that when I need it, and it's like, it takes me whatever 30 seconds, and I get the exact total and blah blah blah. So a lot of times nowadays it's less relevant because a lot of the receipts, the credit card receipts or whatever, have the
Yeah, they do this part for you.
and you'll see the thing, and I usually just see if they did good service. I see the 20% one, and I just round up to the nearest dollar, and then just call it good.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's also mostly an American thing, right? I guess tipping really isn't a thing anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, they're just honest about how much things cost. They don't like price shock as much as we do. We're addicted to it.
Yeah.
And so this shortcut, it's basically just a really good example of what I think is probably the easiest way of controlling the flow of the shortcut for new shortcuts users, which is the choose from menu action.
Yeah.
And so every time you add an item to this list, so since it's 2024, we need to make this a little bit more relevant. And so these are the types of things that you see suggested on receipts nowadays.
25, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen ones that started at 20%, and I'm like,
Wow.
that's interesting, and then it just kept going, and I'm like, yeah, you're really turning me off. And every time I add one of these things here, it creates a corresponding little action block down here, and then I can put actions there. And so this is a really easy way. I think the most beneficial thing of the choose from menu action is that it makes it really easy to read the shortcut later, because you get these nice labeled blocks, and then everything that happens in case the user picks that option. So it makes it really simple to go through.
Yeah, I really just was thinking right now. I really hope that the shortcuts team adds to the choose from menu, so you could put an icon there and you could add a subtext, but for now we are stuck with the V card menus.
Yeah. Now, one thing you can do is what I just did on iOS. It looks a little bit different. Let me pull up the screen here. You can define synonyms for the menu items that you specified. And so, if you don't want to, if you're running this thing through Siri, for example, and you don't want to have to say the word % every time, you could just add the number itself as a synonym. And now, when it's reading the list to you, it'll say, 12%, 15%. But when it's time for you to say something, you can just say 12. And on iOS, it looks like this, where each item has a little I next to it. And then you can change its name, and you can add a synonym for it. And so
that's really cool. I did not know about that.
Yeah, so that's a neat little expanded feature of the choose from menu. And then about what you just said about how we're sort of stuck with VR or V-card menus. There's actually a neat trick you can do with dictionaries and choose from list. So if your dictionary is nothing but text values, then you can do this. Okay. So if your dictionary is nothing but a bunch of text key value pairs, you can use that as the input to your choose from list, and you'll get a title and a subtitle line for each one.
And then maybe just use an emoji for an icon if you want.
Yeah, sure. Or like there's some symbol fonts that you can use as well if you don't like the look of emoji.
Yeah. But the difference though is then so with that or with V-card menus, you have to do some if statements or some way to get the chosen actions.
Yeah, because all this does is tell you what the person chose.
Yeah.
And so if you want to use that to control how the shortcut behaves, then now you have to use like if statements in order to check whether it's this value or that value, or they chose this or they chose that. Yeah. Whereas with the choose from menu, that comes along with it.
You can execute stuff in those actions, or I guess under the action block title or whatever. So
yeah,
it'd be nice if they actually make the choose from menu better, which is fine. But anyway.
Yeah, you think that they would want to provide the ability to specify images, put in a subheading or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not asking too much, Apple. We just don't want more FaceTime gestures because they're stupid.
Oh my God, they're so dumb. But give us more emojis, please.
And on a similar note to this one, so this is also a very simple way of taking typical calculations and sticking them in a shortcut, so that you don't have to remember how to do the calculation. You just follow through the user interface that you designed in shortcuts, and it does it for you. And one of the submitted shortcuts that we got was the shortcut calculator Lite.
Yeah, and that one was great.
And as you can see here, this too is really nothing more than a very judicious use of choose from menu. And so you just have a bunch of different menus driving the user interface. And so you can calculate an expression, you can generate a random number, you can say more calculators. And then inside of that one, there's another choose from menu. You can say, okay, I'm going to do a time zone converter. And then it takes you through this It's just one set of user interfaces after the next. Whoa. Look at all those places. That's so cool.
Wow.
The result of your calculation is May 8th, 2024. And then it uses more choose from menus in order to decide what to do with the result of your calculation. You can speak it, you can quick look it, you can copy it to the clipboard. You've got another choose from menu under here. And so it's just an example of a bunch of different things you can do in shortcuts, which is kind of fun. And they're all stuck inside of one little choose from menu, or a nested choose from menu.
Yeah, that's cool. I almost want to take that time zone functionality out of that and just have a separate shortcut for it.
Right?
Because I am notoriously bad with time zones. It's just so ridiculous.
And then it's really easy to read through this shortcut because it's, oh look, more calculators. And then here's the choose from menu that had all the extra types of calculators. And then, oh look, here's time zone converter. All we got to do is ask for a date, convert it from one time zone to the other time zone, and then these are set up as ask each time. And so by using ask each time as the variable, you get this customized user interface specific for this action. And so that one of the most useful ways of building a user interface in your shortcut is just to set the right variables to being ask each time. And you get these nice user interfaces depending on which action it is. And so this is a really fun shortcut because you can just go through here. If you like one of these calculations that it's doing, you can go, oh yeah, fraction to decimal, that's useful. And this shortcut, like to me, this feels like a cheat sheet for a math test.
Right.
Because it's a bunch of common things, just like the tip calculator. This also has a tip calculator. Here's calculate tip. So it's just got a bunch of common algorithms that we follow, but you don't want to have to remember exactly how to do it. And so, if you need to calculate area or volume or whatever, you go in here. Here's a bunch of little geometry things. And then for perimeter, you get to select so it's a perimeter of a quadrilateral. And it just,
wow.
so it's just these fun little things. You can see here he's making good use of calculate expression to get his sum all at once. We could have also defined a list and then had it calculate the sum using the calculate statistic action. But this is a really cool shortcut in terms of readability, and then also how ambitious it is. And it's really easy to build on this. If you want to provide more formulas here, you just go in here and click the plus, and now you've got another place to do your next formula. And so this is this shows really well how you can build on shortcuts once you've got the basic shortcut written. So very cool. That's the shortcut calc lite. I'll bring up the
Yeah, that one's, like I said, it's very impressive, and it's definitely not a simple one, even though each thing he's doing within it is fairly simple at the same time. So it's
so it shows a really easy way to build on previous work and just stick more and more stuff inside the same shortcut. And the use of multiple choose from menus, this keeps the user interface a little bit more organized, so that you don't just get lost in some huge list of things that you might want to do. And then the next one that you wanted to look at was combine photos. You can do that.
yeah. So this one I made years and years and years ago in workflow, and I used it a lot when I was doing writing blog posts about iPhone apps and or jailbreak tweaks. So I'd want to take a bunch of screenshots and stitch them together, and or throw them into like an iPhone mock-up and then stitch those together. And so it's still my go-to for all the mock-ups that I make. So let's see, getting back to it here, photos. So at its core, it's really simple. I ended up adding some actions to allow it to be shared from or used from the Photos app. So, but before that, it's really 3 actions. So it's select photos, and then combine the photos, and then I have the spacing. Actually, sorry, let's see here. Yeah, so sorry, select photos, and then select multiple. And then the mode I have as ask each time, and then the spacing I have as ask each time. So that way it's just different ways. Like sometimes I want to convert them horizontally, most times, and then sometimes vertically.
Mm-hmm.
And then just simply show the result. I used to have it saved, but sometimes I just look at it and then I save it from there. So kind of turned it down.
And one of the nice things about the show result. Oops. Deselect. One of the nice things about show result is that let's do this horizontally. Is that from show result you can always use the share screen or the share sheet.
Exactly. That's how I.
And so you can copy it from there. You can edit it from there. You can mark it up from there. You can do all kinds of stuff. And then when you're done, you close it, and now you didn't have to save it for no reason. So I think that as long as the user knows all the power of, in this case, quick look, not show result, but as long as the user appreciates what they can do from there, it's a really powerful way to manage the output of your shortcut.
Right, and yeah, and that one it's like pretty much just made for me. So it's like I just use it in that capacity. So, but if I were to make it to release it, it would be like ask to save it
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, and or resize or blah blah blah.
And if you wanted this to be a little bit simpler, since we're focusing on simplicity, let's get rid of this otherwise. Don't need the if either or the count. All we need is to say if there's no input, ask for photos.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And now it's a 2-action shortcut.
So that'll still allow it to be ran from the Photos app and all that?
Yeah, so ask for photos defaults to the same select photos. And then I think it's let's see, can we do oh, there you go. Select multiple. You can tell it that you don't want videos, you just want images and live photos.
Right.
So you get all the photo selection actions.
So if you go, I don't know if you want to bring up your air server to the mobile side of it, but so the way I use it now is from my Photos app on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I select the photos there, and then the little preview that it gives you once you go to the share sheet
Mm-hmm.
is a lot better. Like you can see them in order. Because the way that, I forget exactly what it was, but I think they're like in reverse order if you run it from the shortcut. I think.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so you might want to, you could stick a filter files action in there if you wanted to sort it first.
Yeah. But for me, for my use case, it's so much easier if I'm just looking at my photos themselves, and then I just select them and then boom. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
And the share sheet's a super convenient way to do that. Wish I didn't need a passcode every time I did this.
Yeah, I finally downloaded Air Server. I haven't used it much, but yeah, it's pretty great. I was hoping that it was part of the Set app family, but it's not,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
wouldn't that be nice?
So
Yeah, so you can come in here.
yeah, I finally checked out Set app, and I don't know how really, but I actually got into their affiliate program, and they gave me a year license for free.
Dude, wow,
So
that's a great deal.
all I showed them was my blog, which is just me writing blog posts into the void. I don't know whoever really reads them.
That's awesome.
I was so stoked. I'm like, are you serious? Like, so yeah, I think my calculations are like I probably have like at least a couple $100 worth of apps already that I've installed.
So I come in here, select my photos, share sheet.
If you share, so you can kind of see them in the order that you kind of like, especially if they're next to each other. You can see them.
So that's the order that they'll go in. Oh, look, it just includes all of them.
I think so. Yeah.
Options.
So, yeah. The way I do it is it's like the last 2 or 3 photos or last 5 photos in my recents is so that I can see exactly, like the order of like the mock-ups, for instance.
And then ours is called combined photos, so that's this guy right here. Oh wait, I think that's a different one. Can't tell. Shoot. And there you go.
I think one of these days I'll have to get set up so I can demo these too. Maybe we can switch screens, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. So
Yeah, so that's combined photos.
yeah, a little more complicated, but not really. Especially once you dumb it down a little bit with like the way that I guess I don't know. It was an old way that I think we had to use to count things and then do the if otherwise. But I guess there's a different way to do it, so that's really cool.
Yeah, you can always control what happens if there's just no input provided, and that makes it easy to have a shortcut be like a standalone utility and also a destination for the share sheet.
Yeah, so if there's an input continue and or okay, huh? Interesting.
And then we got some other cool stuff here. Let's see, which one should we talk about? We got another 10 minutes till we finish.
So the one I liked the most was the grab photo link, but it didn't work for me.
Yeah, I wasn't able to get it working with Imager, but with Image BB, I was able to get it working after I signed up and got an API key.
Nice.
And then it worked pretty well.
People should probably be using anything but Imager anyway.
But the reason the Imager's in there, so I'll open it up on this guy so you can see the whole shortcut or most of it. The reason it's in here is because Imager has an iOS app that provides a shortcut action.
Right.
So that makes that a lot less intimidating than here's the Image BB method, where in order to do this, you have to go sign up for an account at Image BB. Then you have to crack open their API documentation in order to find out how to construct this get contents of URL action. And so it's a bit more intimidating from like the shortcut development side, but in general, and this speaks terribly to Apple's software quality. In general, it is way more reliable to use an API service and the get contents of URL action. That's way more reliable than trying to use an app that provides a shortcuts action. And the reason is that iOS is really strict about memory and CPU usage in the background, and so and then if there's a bug in the app and everything's automatically updating from the App Store, and there's just a million things that can go wrong when you're using an action provided by an app. A lot of times they provide these shortcuts actions and then they modify the app and add new features, and it breaks the shortcuts action, but it's not one of the things that they test regularly. And so these things, they'll break for any number of reasons, and they can be really inconsistent. So there's a lot of good reasons to use the get contents of URL, but it's just a little bit scarier. But once you've done it once or twice, then you realize it's rather straightforward. And this one works pretty good. So like you can run it, select a couple photos or a photo, select Image BB was the one that I got working, and it'll also construct a markdown formatted link for you if you want to put it into a markdown document. And then it asks for some placeholder text. And then when it's done, it copies its result to the clipboard because of how I ran it. Still running.
Yeah, I think there's a way
There,
to
so
do
it
from
just
the-
finished. And then now that it's done, here's what I got out of it. So it copied this to my clipboard. I pasted it here in Visual Studio Code, which recognized that this is Markdown syntax, which allows me to use the preview. And there's the photo that I selected.
Nice.
And if I hover over the photo, then it pops up the word neat, which was the title text that I provided to the shortcut. So this is pretty cool. And this is a really typical thing to do. You know, if you're on a service, you know, other than Discord that doesn't allow image uploads, or maybe that makes image uploads a bit of a pain in the butt, then it's really useful to just be able to throw the image up somewhere and get a link to it. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I just learned something about Markdown too. So you can put the title in a quote after the URL.
yeah, it's a little like subset of Markdown syntax where it's
Is that MDX or Markdown?
it's still Markdown, but it's basically the title for whatever link you provide.
So then, yeah, and the thing in the square brackets is the alt text.
Yeah, but if you were to provide a link to a website and they clicked through, it would show the title that you provided alongside the link until it loaded the website. And so in different contexts, it means different things. But yeah, it's just like a little sneaky piece of Markdown syntax.
I may start using that. That's great.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think maybe the last one that we should look at is this one, My Book, which I thought was pretty fun.
Oh, okay.
So this one, and again, these aren't the simplest shortcuts, but My Book, it basically it allows you to have a pin code protected set of text entries, so sort of like journal entries. And you get started, you put in your pin. And then it's just got this nice vCard menu here. You can make a new entry, title. And it makes the entry, asks for your PIN every time the program starts over. You can see the stuff that you already have. You can search for them by title, or you can get a list of all of them. And for some reason, it opens up Quick View in a full screen that's even larger than my screen, and you can't see anything. But once you unfull screen it, then it brings it back down, and you can see the message that you put in there. And the reason that I like this is because it does something pretty simple. It creates a little private place for you to store information, and then you don't have to care about where it's stored. It sort of stays obscured by the way that you're using the shortcut. And
Is it stored in iCloud? I didn't get a chance to take this one apart.
yeah, so it just sits in your iCloud Drive folder under shortcuts.
And is it stored in plain text, or does it have?
It is stored in plain text, and it's interesting because the PIN code, which is numeric, it's stored as checksum.
Yeah, so it'd be nice if the rest of them were too.
But the entries are stored as plain text.
Or stored in base64 or something.
Yeah, so like I made a modified version of this one, and all it does, there's only two places in the shortcut that need to change in order to store it as base64.
Right.
So you come in, when you select to do a new entry, it gets the title and the message, and all you got to do is encode the message as base64, and then write that to the text file instead of the original message.
How
And
long
then-
is the base 64 for just a simple text?
It's tiny. It's not much longer than the text itself. And then when you want to view the entry, then it comes in here. I also simplified this part of the shortcut ever so slightly, but if you search by title, then you can narrow down which entry you're looking for, or you can just select them all from the list. Now this takes whatever that selection is as a file, which means the contents of the file, decodes it, and shows that to you in Quick Look. And so it works the same way, except, so here, I'll get rid of the old entry. Now we can run this thing. And new entry, test. Now, you just get a base64 string.
Oh yeah, it's very small. Wow.
Yeah, it's really, really tiny. Not a whole lot longer than the actual message itself.
Yeah, and then it just comes. Then you just decode it back to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
So that you select it the same way, and then now you get the original message back.
Even though somebody, if they really wanted to, again, can just take that and decode it as well.
Right, because like base64, like it's not encryption. You know, it's just coding it. But I like this shortcut too because it's a simple use of choose from list, and then it's a bunch of easy navigation through the shortcut using if statements and nested if statements. It shows how he came through and constructed his vCard menu. A little bit more of a manual process. Like personally, I think if I was going to go to this level, I would have just made a list of dictionaries, and then I would have constructed my vCard menu by repeating over that list of dictionaries.
Yeah, or use your menu generator.
Yeah, or just use the menu generator. That would work well too. But yeah, it's not a terribly complicated shortcut. Conceptually, it does something really simple. And with these few changes here to base64, you can get a little bit more security out of it. Because this way, if somebody found this, you know, I mean, the fact that it's in the shortcuts folder is sort of a dead giveaway. But if you chose a different location, then somebody would find this and they wouldn't know what to do with it, unless they were really tech savvy, you know. Like, I'm pretty sure that I could take this thing, I could copy this, and now I could bring up Google Gemini, and I could say, what is this? String. And now Google Gemini is going to say, look, it's a base64 encoded string. Decoding it reveals the message. This is the message. Wow, good job, Gemini.
Nice.
So, you know, it's not exactly going to keep anyone out if they're determined, but it's still some semblance of privacy for whatever secret things you want to write down here. But yeah, that's all the time we got today.
Yeah.
You got any closing thoughts?
You know, other than just it was great to do an episode that just, you know, I guess the title, you know, fits, focusing on simplicity. I think we could definitely do more of these and or maybe alternate and or, you know, maybe even another idea I had was just like building shortcuts live. I kind of have you, so you kind of have been doing that a little bit, but just have people suggest shortcuts to build, and we can just kind of do it right then, you know. And
Oh, I like that.
walk through all the
Just
stuff.
have like a 2 hour, like 1 or 2 hour session where we just take requests.
Yeah, that'd be great. Like a working session.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then we can do simple ones, and or we could even do like, you know, hey, how to connect to an API in a shortcut, and then that'd be a longer one and stuff. So
Would be cool to see you working with something like Cherry or Jellycuts, using that to make a shortcut.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then on podcasts I've done in the past, I always have ended it with, if anybody wants to like share, where we can be found, other places online where we hang out, other than like the Discord server.
Yeah, so we've got the RoutineHub Discord server up there.
Yeah,
And then, of
so,
course, there's the RoutineHub website.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then-
shill your socials, guys. Come on.
Right, that's kind of, that's exactly.
Just kidding.
Shameless self-promotion.
Where's
So-
that Patreon?
Right, yeah. So, but I'll mention, so for me, I personally just kind of found or refound Mastodon. And I'm loving it. I just joined the Mastodon.social, so if anybody wants to follow me there, it'd be great. I kind of jumped back on Twitter, a little bit, X, whatever, it's just terrible.
Do you guys use Automator FM? I think it is.
I want to. I joined and I haven't been doing much there yet, but I need to. So.
I've not.
But, yeah, I definitely need to. So, cause I think it was Glue Bite. I was looking at some of his stuff there because he completely got rid of Reddit, and good for him.
Yeah,
So, but
I feel that. Well, it was another amazing one, guys. I want to thank you both so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's always a blast.
It's always just awesome to watch you guys work and figure things out, or just dissect the shortcuts live. It's really cool. You don't see that too much anywhere, really, unless it's a live session like this, or a pre-recorded event, or some kind of lesson or something, course. But this is really cool. We will do more of these. I'm glad we got that YouTube set up and good to go. So that's all squared away. Thank you, Twilsonco, for helping with that.
Yeah, for sure.
So going forward, we'll definitely be simulcasting to YouTube, Discord, and hopefully many other places. So we'll figure that out.
Yeah, that's great because that way they don't have to come in here or whatever. So, cool. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Cool. Thank you. So we'll wrap this up, everyone. Thank you for joining. T. Wilson, not sure if you recorded this, but I think the YouTube is doing we'll have a playback anyway, so we'll have at least that to work with.
Yeah, the YouTube should double as a recording, and so I didn't make a separate recording.
No worries, you're good. I think YouTube has it all set up. So thank you so much, guys. So we'll give you some info on the next one. I have some ideas for the next one. If not, we'll maybe just do one of those work sessions in between the next themed event and before then. So cool. Thank you guys so much. Thank you all for joining.
If you guys just want to drop that link somewhere where the channel or something, so we can.
Yeah, we'll do.
Cool. Thanks, guys. We'll catch up next time. Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Definitely. Thanks again. See ya.